Is to just take your seats, and we're formally kicking off this morning's session. Thank you everybody for, again, really prompt attendance. Much appreciated to help us get through this morning's order of business. I hope you enjoyed yesterday evening. It was really great to chat to you all. I know we're nearly at the end of a very long stretch. A little bit of business to do this morning, which we will get through. I'll just run you through in a few moments, and we get a chance to reflect just later on. But I think it was a really nice evening, and I really enjoyed chatting with everybody throughout yesterday evening. Just in terms of the order of business this morning, we have a few procedural pieces still to do. I just want to reflect on very quickly. Firstly, we need to count the ballot of ballot paper number 4, which we just concluded yesterday evening. And I'll be asking Jesse and Marcus again to join with Kieran and the team, and we'll just conclude that vote, and we can do that in parallel. We'll keep moving on. Secondly, we need to get to, there was an item 3.6, if you remember, that wasn't on your ballot paper correctly. We need to finalise the wording on that. And I know some members, Rebecca particularly in table number 8, had stated the issue of accountability, and we need to state it expressly and clearly. And actually, as we looked at 3.6, that is on the issue of accountability, but I'm proposing we would change the wording to it, and I'll just put it up on the screen for everybody to have a look at and agree or otherwise a change. So 3.6 we'll need to do. And we can take that as well. And then we will come to ballot paper number 5, which I had time for deliberations at the table yesterday evening. And what I'm proposing that we'll just walk through each of the recommendations and take any changes as we walk through each one, and try to conclude then on the ballot number 5. And then finally, ballot number 6, which I think only has 4 on it, and we'll get through that as well. We have time. I do believe we can do this in an hour and a half. I'm sure people would want to work with me to get there, because we've done the hard work on a lot of number 5 in particular yesterday as well, deliberations at your table. So I put that down as a kind of target for us to try conclude by 11. Just to say in advance, lunch will be still in the hotel here. I think the hotel have arranged to have it for 12:30. So, you know, all please do feel free to get a bit of fresh air. Whoever can join us, please do for lunch. But I'm going to propose I try move the agenda through for us to conclude by 11-ish. But look, I'm in your hands. So the first thing I'm going to go and ask, if I can, ask Jesse and Marcus to join with Kieran, and we'll just try do the count and ballot. Before Jesse and Marcus go, actually, can I just put the wording up on proposal for, which was 3.6, but it's around the issue of accountability, if we can. And Rebecca, not just pinning you out, but I know people have an interest to make sure we're clear and unambiguous around the role of accountability. So can you just have a quick reflection? I don't propose to read it word for word, but if you can have a quick reflection on that, please. I've aimed to make it very clear. We'll take it just a minute. Okay, so any quick suggestions that aren't completely wordsmith, but I'm open to any? Is that addressed the challenge we have, or any kind of? Sorry, Kerry, did you have a suggestion? Just have a mic there. 1 second, Kerry.
I'm not sure from the person who asked about accountability, which I think we're all concerned about, but was it all drug use or problematic drug use? Because we're using the term drug misuse and problematic drug use quite a lot.
Fair point.
So, well, from the room,
are we okay with problematic drug use? Quick show of hands, problematic drug use. Okay, no, I think that's clear. Okay, hands up, are we okay to go with that? And we'll prepare, we just need to get that ready for ballot. Okay, that's agreed, we'll get that ready in tandem as well. So again, if I can ask Jesse and Marcus to join us, and we go for table number 4. And I'm conscious Jesse and Marcus will be out as we're deliberating on number 5, but we won't hold any ballot until Jesse and Marcus come back and to reflect as well. So I'm going to go to number 5 now. Ballot number 5, and I know it seems like a long time ago yesterday evening, but you did have a bit of deliberation around the table. What I'm going to propose is, rather than going randomly each table and taking them all, we're going to go through each element of the recommendation. If you can pull them up, Cathal. So we'll go through number 5 and just take one by one if there's any change or wording, and we'll just. So the first one, 5.1. Next iteration of National Drug Strategy should continue to prioritise the objective of reducing illicit drug supply at international, national and local level within communities. So please put your hand up if any table had a suggestion or proposes to make any change to that. So table number 12, is it? Table number 12, please.
Thank you. Next to, so where we sorry,
Take your time.
take out next in the statement,
Sure, yeah.
and as well as that, next to supply, we should also include associated structures.
In the text.
Yep.
Yeah. Just give us 1 second. Just clarify that last one, please, Lauren.
So where we have reducing illicit drug supply, we should add and associated structures in the title.
Oh, in the 5.1 title, is it? Okay, again, I would ask people, don't please get too concerned on the title one, but because that's not necessarily what would be in the report. It's just a heading to help us today. Okay. Can I go a quick show of hands? Are people happy with 5.1 as it's stated now with that amendment? Sorry, no, sorry, there was one other change, was there? Oh no, show of hands. Everybody okay with table number 5.1? Okay, we will go with that. So, it's 5.2, Carl, please. Okay. Government should develop and expand the use of alternative pathways for young people engaged in low-level sale and distribution of drugs. Do I have from any table any proposed change to 5.2? Yes, we do. Table 14, please.
This is on behalf of a member, so that it be consistent and obligatory that the judiciary use restorative justice or diversion for low-level sale and distribution.
Is that an extra sentence in the recommendation, is it?
Yes.
Do you want to just call it one more time, please?
Yeah, that it be
Oh, sorry, it's in the explanatory, is it?
Yeah, there's reference to restorative justice programs and youth diversion schemes.
The emphasis is on not requiring, but being consistent across all judiciary that they consider restorative justice as a default rather than an option.
I understand your point.
Yeah.
And is your proposal that that's brought up into the recommendation as opposed to the explanatory text?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
I understand.
Thank you.
We need to bring it up. Okay. Just give us 1 moment, please. You're working Cathal hard very early, straight away. Good man.
Please feel free to help me here. Restorative justice and diversion.
Okay.
Sorry, is there one final clause there?
It's already implied in low-level sale and distribution cases.
Yeah, okay.
That can be in the subtext, I would suggest.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, table 12, do you have a proposed change?
Yeah, the table was just asking, could the final sentence of the narrative be included in the header? So that's with enhanced investment in community-based work and community development projects and initiatives.
Okay. Can I get a show of hands if we're okay to go 5.2 as stated? Okay, thank you. 5.3?
Okay.
Sorry, Carl.
All right. 5.3, here we go.
National Drug Strategy should focus on building resilient, sustainable communities through local partnerships. Table 4, thank you. This here. You got a mic? Table 4.
Jerome, do we have a mic?
Can we have a mic, please?
Hey, good morning. National Drug Strategy should focus on building resilient, sustainable communities through local partnerships and stronger community policing.
That's very clear. Thank you. Any for Jack first and then, sorry, table 2 and then table 1, is it? Aveline, good morning.
Good morning. Just maybe after local partnerships at both a local at both a rural and urban environment, or in both urban and rural environments.
I get your point, Jack. Thank you.
Just a thought, but is this one not quite similar to 3.7, and are we doubling up?
Wow, good stuff. Someone's done their homework last night. 3.7, was it, Aveline? Okay. Excuse me 1 sec.
Prioritise vulnerable and marginalised groups and disadvantaged communities. It might be different on my draft. The next, yeah, that one. That one there, yeah.
So I think 3.8 is focused really on sort of the range of addiction treatment services, treatment, recovery, harm reduction and so on, whereas the one that we're looking at now is focused on wider supply-related issues. Yeah, so there is crossover, but there's probably also distinction.
Okay. And can I show of hands quick if we're okay in 5.3? Thank you very much. 5.4, please. Go on. So, next iteration of, and again, we'll take it next, just to say that straight away. The National Drug Strategy should prioritise the objective of tackling drugs-related intimidation and violence. Table number 12, please.
Good morning, everybody. We'd like to add to the narrative that consideration to be given to the establishment of a local cab.
Local cab, was it?
Yeah. Cab. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, I'm just saying it so you're reassured you will have time to feed back to narrative
just
in the reports as well.
One little piece there. Sorry.
If it's okay, I've just got to add in the word consideration to be given to the establishment of local criminal asset bureau units.
Yes.
Obviously within the overall structure of the cab.
And there was one other question just in relation to the whether the word somewhere should go in about the source of drug-related intimidation and violence as well. So it's the impact and source, so that you're tackling the causes.
Tackling the impact
And source.
source.
Okay, quick show, Jack, or was that a show of hands? You get in before me, Jack. You're up early this morning as well.
Thank you, Paul. I guess maybe we should, I'm not exactly sure about the clear wording of this, but possibly include a small part, like a small maybe sentence kind of describing that although these individuals are engaged in criminal activity, the Assembly has noted that in many cases these people are driven by, drug addiction, and show that, and that should be, acknowledged. They shouldn't just be treated as just conventional criminals.
Yeah, that one is tricky. I'm not quite sure. Sorry. Okay, so let's word it and then we'll see. So you're saying, Jack, take cognizance of the fact that this may be related to the drugs-related issues and should be treated differently? I know. I'm just trying to repeat what Jack said.
Sorry, Jack, is that more relevant to sale and supply and distribution rather than drug-related intimidation and violence?
Here you go, Jack.
It's, I guess I was coming at this from the perspective that there are underlying issues, and that there obviously should be a very clear distinction between most of the people. I'm kind of now coming to the realization that yes, most of the people doing this are probably like, you know, they're not the same as, like, you know, some of the other people that we've met. So I don't know. It's tricky. I definitely do think that the reaction of the assembly does, you know, display a very clear sort of, like, you know, there is a divide between, like, you know, these different types of people. So I think I'll probably rescind what I've just said.
It's okay, Jack.
Just
It's no problem.
omit it.
Thank you. That's okay. That's okay. I know the feeling when you're explaining, you're losing. Gets difficult. It's okay, Jack. Okay, so are we okay, 5.4 as it stands? Quick show, sorry, table 6, sorry for doing that.
Hi, yeah, we just wanted to add on 5.4 at the start, instead of should prioritise, it should read continue to prioritise. And at the end of that sentence, and take a zero tolerance approach after violence.
Quick show of hands for as a stated. Okay, that's clear enough. Yeah. 5.5. 5.5 was it, or 5.6 is it?
Oh, yeah.
Prioritise hammer. The next, no, we done that. We done that, didn't we? We did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
national drug strategy.
5. We haven't done this one, no. Okay, so national drug strategy should prioritise the objective of promoting more widespread use of and rapid adoption of evidence-based approaches to harm reduction. Any immediate changes? Table 6, then table 1.
We would like to add into the explanatory narrative that to include a permanent drug testing facility in Ireland.
Any particular place there, everywhere you wanted that reference, does it? Or just a general sentence in it?
Within just kind of after include when it starts listing the centres and things. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I know I keep saying it, but rest assured you will have a chance on the narrative to contribute. Sorry.
Yes, on 5.5, I feel that the statement is very vague because of its wordiness. So where it says prioritise the objective of promoting more widespread use and rapid adoption of evidence-based approaches, I think what that essentially is saying, aim to promote the use of an approach. It's quite vague. There's not really an action derived out of that. So it could actually be sort of passed by and with no definitive action. So what I propose is to reduce some of that wordiness and say to use the approach, the evidence-based approach in to harm reduction. I would prefer it to be more direct in describing the approach to harm reduction. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Sorry, I'll be brief. Just naloxone we haven't mentioned, which I'd like to see in there for guards to be able to carry as well.
And can we...
Just one sec, Kerry. Go ahead.
So we can add, maybe down here.
Yeah. Yeah. Kerry?
And can part of that be reducing the barriers? Because we've been talking about these sort of facilities for a long time, and local communities object. So let's be realistic that part of this has to be looking at the objections and the barriers to bringing these facilities in. So that has to be named. And we have to look at why these facilities are put in certain areas, not other areas.
Okay, so we have the wording.
So that actually has to be named and go in, otherwise we can talk about it and it's not going to happen again.
Okay, we have the wording. Are we okay, propose to go with 5.3 as written? Show of hands to say yes. Okay, clear enough. Thank you. Thank you very much. Strategic approach to drugs, 5.6. Next, the National Drug Strategy should include a detailed action plan to enhance Ireland's approach to prevention of drug use. Table 10, please, Zin.
Sorry, we suggest to add the dual diagnosis and the early screening of ADHD, etc., to the SPHE as a part of the primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention, and that National Drug Strategy should support the Department of Health to work on.
ADHD, was it, in the context of primary, secondary?
And yes, and that dual diagnosis.
Okay.
Okay, we have an explanatory and dual diagnosis. Propose we go with 5.6 as is. No order. Sorry? No.
Kerry.
Sorry, Kerry. Sorry, Kerry, just 1 sec, we get a mic.
If it's okay, not just ADHD, neurodiversity. So
ADHD,
it takes
neurodiversity
in. So it takes in autism as well.
ADHD and neurodiversity and dual diagnosis. Sorry, I wasn't quite sure. Can I just check the room? Can I show hands of 5.6 if we're okay to go? No, we're not. Okay, so table 12. Sorry, no. Oh, sorry, you were good to go. Apologies. Sorry, I didn't get a show of hands that we're okay with this. Sorry? Can I check one more time? 5.6, are we happy to go with 5.6 as currently worded? Show of hands if you're happy to go put this to ballot. Show of hands if you're not. Okay, there's a clear majority. Somebody want to come in? Yeah, Jack, first of all.
Guess I was looking for a bit of, just looking for a definition of what is meant by primary, secondary, and tertiary prevention. What's the distinctions between the three?
So it's one type of terminology. Sorry, it's one type of terminology that describes the whole spectrum of intervention or prevention measures. I know Dr. Mary Cannon down the back might be able to clarify this if I say something wrong, but primary prevention effectively are the kind of universal prevention programs we heard about that are done through SPHE curricula in primary and secondary schools. Secondary prevention is, for example, things like the SARE intervention model that is sort of engages with people who are already using drugs and at risk of developing problematic drug use. And tertiary prevention then is things like the kind of wraparound services of, housing, education and training and so on that help people sustain recovery and prevent their relapse back into drug use having gone through treatment and recovery. So they're it's the full spectrum really of prevention approaches for different cohorts of the population. Okay, we did have suffice to put it to ballot, so people have an option now to ballot on 5.6. 5.7, build resilience and prevention capital. And 5.7? Lars, yeah, sure.
Just two things if you'll remit it. After resilience, to include mental health. It's on the second line of the headline. Resilience, mental health. And then at the end to add in dual diagnosis after adverse childhood experiences, just to include those two pieces.
Can you just check with mental health in there twice? Just Lars, mental health was in. In the third line, it's already there.
Yeah, but to bring it up
Okay.
as
Yeah,
to the enhancement piece.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Is that okay? Thank you.
No, that's okay. tables more 7. Graham?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to the last speaker, but I just thought to emphasise the mental health a bit, if we could put in an effort to circumvent the possibility of developing a dual diagnosis, mental health resourcing and funding need to be taken more seriously and substantially enhanced.
Can I suggest more we strengthen this in the narrative, explanatory narrative? You know, because we reference mental health in the recommendation, but we put some sentences to your,
Okay,
your satisfaction.
That's
Just give us a moment.
Sorry, Maura, would you mind repeating that for me, and I'll try and capture it in the narrative, thanks.
Sorry?
Yeah, would you mind repeating your suggestion and
All
I'll
right.
capture it, please, thanks.
In an effort to circumvent the possibility of developing a dual diagnosis, mental health resourcing and funding need to be taken more seriously and substantially enhanced.
Mental health resourcing
needs to be taken seriously and substantially enhanced.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maura. Table 6, Avrik.
We actually wanted an additional recommendation around mental health because we felt that this wasn't strong enough for ongoing mental health issues, and it was focused on kind of catching it young rather than for people who are already experiencing it.
Just say it again, Avrik, you wanted it separate?
We wanted a separate recommendation specifically to promote the funding of mental health services, like ongoing support, rather than try and catch it in children and young. We just wanted a separate recommendation specifically on mental health that wasn't around children, young people, and like a louder childhood experiences.
Sorry, Avrik, sorry, Kerry, please, can I just clarify? It's
To us, this just read that it was for children and young people.
Your concern is this one specifically for children and young people.
Yeah.
And you want your
We want a
proposal is-
specific recommendation that mental health services need
can
to be improved.
Can we use this recommendation to say overall and not just, not just young children and young people?
Could I propose just a very slight change that might sort of rectify it by saying, instead of saying with a focus, including a focus on therapeutic supports for children and young people, but also for the wider population.
Yeah.
It's not saying it's excluding the wider population, it's just saying, but there needs, of course, to be a specific focus within that strategy on children and young people.
Okay. Just let's try have a look at it. We can see what it looks like. You okay? Take your time. You okay? Resilience matter. Sorry, Kerry. No, sorry, Kerry. You'll have to put your hand up, please, and I can get to you because it's very hard to. Do you want to bring Kerry? Sorry, no problem. Okay.
I'm just surprised that nobody has asked where is sharing the vision, which is the mental health strategy that we have as a national health strategy that was launched in June 2020 and is meant to run to 2024. And I'm just surprised there's no recommendation asking where that is, why that hasn't been implemented, why that isn't serving, because I think in it there is things about people with addiction and why we aren't asking the government to look at that, to look at why it hasn't been implemented, why it isn't addressing the needs of all the people who took time out of their lives to talk to us, and the families and the communities, and pointed out all the failings.
Okay.
And we have something there.
Thank you.
So why can't we ask
Thank
for
you.
that to be implemented and reviewed?
Can I get a show of hands? Are we happy to go with 5.7 as amended by Avrik, but as amended? Show of hands, please. Okay, it's okay. Thank you. 5.8. Department of Health and Education, in conjunction with the HSE, should design and implement a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy for both junior and senior cycle students, as well as parents and teachers. This emerged from our prevention. Sorry, table 10. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Marie, come to you next.
So our table has suggested to include drug prevention strategy education, not just in junior and senior cycles, but the wider community. I don't think it's sufficient to reach any underprivileged kids that don't go or drop out of school early, that they're the most vulnerable and they need to be reached as well.
And that did come up in our discussions as well, to students and wider community. So after students, we'll say and the wider community. Sorry, Marie, table 11.
I'd like to add, it's been my hot topic since the beginning, utilising external experts to deliver to classroom, backed up by teachers, with regular updating by the experts to schools as needs arise. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. Would you be happy we put that in the narrative? No. Okay. So utilising external experts in conjunction with teachers?
I think there was some debate and discussion at the prevention session about the validity of using external experts as the primary source of prevention education. And I think one of the points that Professor Eamon Keenan, I recall, made was that the involvement of external experts is very helpful for supporting and educating parents, but that the delivery, and perhaps, I know, forgive me for calling him in, but Brian Galvin might be able to clarify some of this as well, that there's an argument that the delivery of prevention models within the school should be best done by trained teachers.
And just while we're getting a mic to mine, sorry, Mary, you go ahead, and then we'll bring Brian in a second.
I'd like to respond to that, thank you. Yes, I was at that meeting, and yes, that point was put forward. However, there's a belief that young people pay better attention when there's a new model in front of them. So the experts come in, they're only coming to deliver, they're also empowering the teachers in the subject matter, and they're updating the teachers in the subject matter as the drugs progress in Ireland. The problem progresses and new drugs are filtered in. If we are to rely on teachers and schools to keep themselves updated and to deliver a model that is continuous across all schools and can be absorbed by children in the same fashion in every school, we need a hit team, in my opinion. Thanks very much.
And sorry, we'll just call Brian, if he has a mic. Has it Brian?
Yeah.
You can stand.
Okay, let's try the fire here a little bit. I think Eamon's point, and Richie and Karen that morning at the last meeting, I think they have studied prevention science quite a lot, and Gregor from the MCDA, and I think there is very clear evidence that there is very little value in bringing external people into schools to speak to students. Just to let me finish, I'm not trying to knock down your point. I think we need, there is a good program in SPHE, a really good program. It's very effective, a effective model. It's not been implemented as well as it should. Bringing in additional people will not make it a better model. And I think Carl's point about bringing experts in to speak to parents and empowering parents to be able to speak to their own students is very valuable. But there is not evidence that bringing ad hoc, experts in is going to make any difference.
Okay. Ray, I'll bring you back in just 2 minutes. Right? Just maybe John first. Zin, I will let you back in, Ray. Just one second.
Junior cycle, does that mean sort of year 1 to year 3 at secondary school?
Yes.
Why don't we have the same thing at national school level or something similar, maybe class 5 and 6? Because that's where the real issues start to happen.
We have seen so.
No, he's saying senior cycle in primary school, so 5th and 6th class. So Yeah, we could certainly add that in and say age-appropriate programs for primary school and then junior and senior cycle in secondary school.
Okay, Noel, just and then I go to Zin and then back to Marie.
Brian, thanks for your input. I have anecdotal evidence myself from my own daughter to the opposite of what you said. There was a week where they had a session on drugs, and I asked her about it, and she said, well, it was just another class. The following week, they had a session on mental health, and they had a person come in, and she said everybody was riveted. That stuck with them because it was authentic, delivered authentically. And I think it's placing a very high expectation on teachers to fulfill that authentic role.
Okay. And I am very conscious on the day there was a strong feeling amongst the floor, notwithstanding some of the experts said, strong feeling on the floor on this one. Zin?
Yes, sorry, I would like to second that external board and having a third party involved in the school, and it may also affect on supervised teachers and prevent them from discriminating students, especially early age students, and prevent the early age dropping rate.
Okay, thank you, Zin.
Could I just suggest that the solution here might be to recognise that this isn't an either-or, and that what we're talking about here is probably, if we're to go to the kind of evidence-based information we got from the EMCDDA, is that there should be a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy for primary school and junior and senior cycle secondary students and the wider community, delivered by trained teachers, supplemented by external inputs as appropriate.
Marie, I said I'd let you back. I will, promise.
Thank you, Cathal. You're nearly across the line.
Okay.
I'm going to stand firm on it. We have to reverse it. We have to use the experts. Mo Molan, who's a woman, I really, really appreciated what she did in Ireland for our country, wrote a book called Momentum. The last third of her book references drug and drug addiction and drug problems. She traveled the world. She specifically states in her book that using the teacher in the classroom that children are looking at every day, my parents were both teachers, doesn't deliver the message. You need the experts first. And of course you want the teachers to become experts, but you need the experts to deliver and the experts to update. Thanks very much, and I hope you'll vote with me.
Very clear and very passionately delivered. Okay, I'm going to go to table 8 first and then table 12.
I would recommend, as an ex-teacher, that not alone should parents be included, but they should be included alongside their daughters or sons. As teenagers, certainly at second level, I think any delivery of information that involves parents should also involve the student, the person who it's been directed at. So I would say that instead of having a parents' information night and students' information in the school day, that doesn't work because they have two different deliveries. It would be far more appropriate if they both were in attendance at the same talk.
Okay. I'd suggest we might capture that in the narrative, if you're good. That's kind of process how we deliver it, if that's okay. Okay, table 12, and then I'll come back to table 7.
Just a handy one, parents, could we change it to parents/guardians, just to make it more?
Of course. We're just trying to capture everything, and we'll come back to Marie. Table 7.
I was just wondering, could we put in, maybe in the narrative, appropriate peer participation in the delivery of this programme to enhance its effectiveness? It just came to me, my son does some coaching with teams, with his own children and that, and a group of others, and he told me, just remarked to me, that when the parents or the coaches are speaking to the youngsters, you know, they're half listening and they're nearly finished, but if an older peer comes up and is giving them advice, you could hear a pin drop. So often, you know, at that age, I think peers can have a big influence on each other, and good role models can do a lot of good. So maybe in the narrative, some reference could be made to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Peers and role models. Okay. Can I just go back to it and make sure that we get Cathal across the line for Ray there? Just go back to the main wording if we can when you're ready, Cathal.
So these are the two outstanding issues to decide if we want to include reference to the role of the different roles of experts and teachers, and the proposal there to include parents, guardians and young people in joint sessions. So it's detail that can be included if we want to lengthen the length of what's already a quite wordy recommendation, or we can bring it down into the body of the narrative.
I think the final two, from what I remember, the proposers were happy with going to the narrative, which was, you know, the process how it would be delivered with the parents and the child or guardian, whatever. I think that was happy to go in the narrative. Am I mistaken?
I'll just highlight that, and I'll edit it after we take the big decision, just to turn it into a coherent
we can just stick
sentence.
stick with the top one if we're okay.
Yeah. So,
Marie, are we getting a nod yet?
well, this is where I need to work it in now, Marie. You might help me here. So, the programs, the strategy should feature input by experts and by trained does that capture it? No?
Not quite.
Okay. Work with me.
You call it out, please.
I wrote down this morning, utilising external experts to deliver to classroom, backed up by teachers, with regular updates by the experts to the schools as the need arises.
My typing skills are not quite that good. So would you go through it once more with me, Marie? And I'll
Certainly.
Utilising external experts.
Yes, to deliver to classroom.
You said backed up by teachers, didn't you?
Yes, backed up by teachers.
Backed up by
with regular updating by the experts to the schools. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, God. Table 7. Again, if we can.
Hi, thank you. With respect, I used to teach SPHE, and experts would be brought into schools occasionally, so it's probably already in the system. And to regular updating, yes, I agree that it should be included here, but that also should be included, and I know it's not here now, but when we get onto a big public health campaign and ongoing education. But as I say, in my experience, most schools already include a visit from an expert, whereas the teachers handle the main part of the subject. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to take one more and we're going to taste this. Zin, please.
Oh, just in my opinion, people have different views on this recommendation. I suggest to separate them to different recommendations, and so people can vote on their opinions. Thanks.
I'm not sure there's different opinions. I don't think there's two different opinions on it, actually, in fairness. I think there's reasonable consensus in the room that needs to be strengthened by external experts. Table number 14, so Zin, I don't agree that there's... Yeah, we'll test it in a minute.
Hi, I just wondering, I see experts up there a lot. Does that include people with lived experience? Or is that just like, you know, shrinks or, you know, addiction counsellors or...
You mean the word expert? Does it include...
Yeah, you know, people with lived experience. You know, to me, they'd be fairly expert.
Yeah, and I think, in fact, some of the evidence from the EMCDDA was that would distinguish between people who have, as you said, expertise in relation to the let's call it the biopsychosocial nature of drug addiction on the one hand and people with lived experience. They're two very different types of expertise. Yes, they're both experts in certain domains, but they're quite distinct. If I'm not mistaken, I think Marie's use of the word expert is more around people with understanding and expertise around biopsychosocial dimensions of addiction and
we can refer to it as expertise, which is a bit broader. Is that okay?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So to Loris, I'm going to try table 4, please. Table 4, please. Thank you.
Sorry, just a small point. I think it should be the teachers are backed up by the experts rather than the experts backed up by the teachers, because they're the main person in the classroom.
Okay.
Well, the students obviously, but you know, the teacher.
Okay, I think we're getting to a level of detail that might... Teachers backed up by experts, which Marie is looking at me angrily. Well, not angrily, but...
I mean, it's use of the word backup when, you know, each has a distinct and each has a vital role in the process. Like, if I take out the phrase backup...
Support. Yeah.
What about
supporting
prevention
teachers?
programs to utilise external experts and...
Supporting teachers. Supporting teachers. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not saying who's... Okay, can I show of hands if we're happy with this go to the ballot, please? Okay, we will go with that. Thank you, Marie, and everybody else.
Thank you.
5.9. The Department of Health should roll out a national public health communication strategy with a focus on preventing drug use, reducing the risk of harmful drug use. We said drug use twice. Making services accessible and reducing the shaming and stigmatisation of people who use drugs. Any proposed change? Table 6.
Yeah, Table 6 felt they didn't like the use of drug use twice in the sentence.
As I
And
read it, yeah.
It was just some of the wording, like communication strategy. So we rewrote it to Department of Health should roll out a national public health information campaign focusing on prevention, risk mitigation, advertising services, reducing shame and stigmatization of people who use drugs.
Okay. We just... Maybe... Have you got that written out, Adrian?
Yeah.
Just it's easier. Thank you. Thank you. That's very helpful. Just give us one moment, please. I will go to table 10. Just 1 minute.
So that's the proposed new wording.
Okay, table 7, please.
Thank you. The Department of Health should roll out regular national public health information campaigns. So it's an ongoing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Where are we? Sorry, Elaine. 10. 10 was in, please.
So we suggest on the explanatory narrative, because reducing the shame and destigmatization is the change of the social norm that is hard to implement without the law enforcement. So we suggest to add the law enforcement to protect the people who use drugs or a certain marginalized group and prevent them from being discriminated.
Okay, in the narrative. Okay, can I have a quick show of hands if we're okay with 5.9 to go to vote, ballot? Okay, agreed. We will put that to ballot now. And we need to obviously up these. Jack, table 2, quick one.
I think that the last point there in the header, reducing shame and stigmatization of people who use drugs, I think that should be in terms of like the list that's given, I feel like that should be at the top of the list rather than at the bottom, as I think it's possibly like, you know, in terms of like, you know, just a new inertia of innovation. I feel like it's important that that's like the first one there.
Okay, we've reversed it around. Okay, I'm going to put that one to ballot now, which is 5.9. Now, we now have a few procedural things to just revert back on while we recraft that ballot paper for voting at table number 5. I think we have, Karen, can I check? We have production results on ballot 3. It's not ready. You have, do you want to do that? We did call out this yesterday, but do you have it on the slide? Okay, yeah, we'll wait till we do the amended 3.6 and we'll have, have ballot paper number 3. Okay, sorry, we have that one on accountability, which was 3.6. We're going to distribute that now for balloting to the tables. If we can turn that around fairly quickly, and then we'll do them all. Sorry? Oh, Jesse and Marcus, can I again please call on you? Can we get the boxes? Oh, thanks, yeah. Sorry, Jesse, we'll get them. They're doing 3.6 now. Yeah? Yeah, isn't that right?
Yeah.
How are we doing? Yeah.
I don't see Brian.
Brian is listening.
Doesn't want to be roped into.
Okay, just a reminder, if you can, please cast your ballot, yellow ballot paper, 1 ballot per person.
The question 4 was number
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll have 3 and 4. Okay, can I just ask everybody if you've had a chance to please cast your vote? Okay. 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 Okay, can I just please call you all to order? I know everybody's grabbing a cup of tea. Okay, can we just call you all back again, please? What I'm going to propose... Okay, folks, can we get you all back to tables? Jack, are we good to go? Okay, can we get you all back to tables just to check where we are in the process? We've one ballot paper left to do, which is ballot paper number 6, which I think has 4 sub-recommendations on it. What I'm going to propose for the next 15 minutes is, and then we'll take a formal tea break, next 15 minutes, have a deliberation at your table, consider any proposed change that you want to make. We'll walk through them, and then we'll run through various results that we have to date, including the last one that we just taken there, and reporting on results on 3, 4 overall, and then we'll in tandem be getting the ballot paper for number 5 ready as well. So if you can take 15 minutes, and then we take a formal tea break at 11:15, just before 11:15, if that's okay. Thank you. Looking at ballot paper number 6 at this stage. Yeah. Okay, ballot number 5 is open. It's open, yeah. Ballot paper number 5, if you want to complete your ballot, and the boxes are now open. Okay, can I just make a final call to everybody? Have you please posted your ballot paper number 5? We'll close the ballot in just a couple of moments. Final call on ballot papers, number 5. Anybody not post their ballot? Number 5, if you can, please. No problem. No problem. No problem. Get up there, Martin. Hurry up there, Martin. Good man. I give another warning, yeah. Okay, we're going to recommence in just a couple of minutes. Can I just 100% check if everybody has used their ballot, who wants to use their ballot, number 5? No problem. Just in time. Come on, Pedro. Hurry up there. Hurry up. Come on. Thank you. We won't close the ballot just yet. There's 1 or 2 people just outside coming in. I think we've 1 person still outside the room on table 14.
Well, no, the problem is I can't introduce an amendment, so I'll need you to stand up.
Okay, table 14, can I just check if your last outstanding person has voted? No? Okay. All right. Okay, we'll wait. Just be ready and I'll Okay, can I all call everybody to your seats, please? Everybody to seats, please. Alana, Rebecca. Alana. Up. Everybody, please. Okay, we just have 1 person to vote. Have we got... Come on, Paddy. Sorry, I just want to let Paddy vote, and then we're going to close that ballot box, let you guys get out of the way. You go ahead, yeah. We just let Paddy vote. The walk of shame now, Paddy, all the way to the ballot box. Okay, I'm going to call on Ciara now, please, to present the results of ballot papers number 3 and ballot papers number 4.
Okay, this is ballot paper number 3, including question 3.6, which we voted on just this morning. The rest of it was voted on yesterday. Question 3.1 is for greater political priority and prominence for drugs policy and related issues. There was 86 votes, of which 81 agreed, 3 disagreed, and there were 2 invalid. For question 3.2, the state should take urgent, decisive and ambitious action to improve its response to the harmful impact of drugs use. 83 people were in agreement, 2 disagreed and 1 invalid vote. Question 3.3 was on drugs misuse as a policy priority. 79 people agree with that, 5 disagree and 2 invalid votes. Question 3.4 is on a whole of government policy coherence, operational cohesion and effective leadership. 83 people were in agreement with the resolution, 1 disagreed, 1 don't know and 1 spoiled. Question 3.5 was to state that the new national drugs strategy should be published as a matter of urgency. 82 people agree, 1 disagrees, 2 don't know and 1 spoiled. Question 3.6 we took this morning, so there's only 85 votes cast on this one, unlike the rest of them. This was on the government must assign accountability at the highest level related to the state's response to problematic drug use, including the implementation and tracking of the progress of the Citizens' Assembly. 81 people agree, 3 disagree and 1 spoiled vote. Question 3.7 was calling for stakeholder involvement in national drugs strategy. 77 people agreed, 4 disagreed, 2 don't know and 3 spoiled. Question 3.8 is to prioritise vulnerable and marginalised groups and disadvantaged communities. And that one, 74 agree, 7 disagree, 3 don't know and 2 spoiled. 3.9 is drugs policy design and implementation should be informed by service users and people who use drugs, as well as family members of people affected by drugs, with provision of appropriate supports to enable this involvement. On that one, 73 people agree, 7 disagree, 3 don't know and 3 spoiled. And finally, 3.10, the government should work with key stakeholders to build an effective whole-of-society response to drugs-related issues. 77 votes in agreement, 5 disagree, 1 don't know and 3 invalid votes. Okay. We'll move straight on to ballot paper 4, which is the one you voted on just before we closed business yesterday evening. And on this one, we had 85 votes cast for all questions. Question 4.1, additional funding to services across the statutory, community and voluntary sectors. That had 82 people in agreement, 1 disagree and 1 invalid votes. 4.2, the government should allocate additional resources to fund community-based and residential treatment and recovery services as an alternative to custodial sentences for people with problematic drug use. That's 78 people agree, 5 disagree, 1 don't know and 1 spoiled. Question 4.3 was on the use of novel funding sources. That's 77 people in agreement, 2 disagree, 4 don't know and 2 invalid. 4.4 was on the transparency of expenditure on drug-related services and initiatives. That had 79 votes in agreement, 3 disagreed, 2 don't know and 1 spoiled. 4.5 stated that the next iteration of the National Drug Strategy should include a strategic workforce development plan. 80 people were in agreement with that, 2 disagreed, 2 don't know and 1 spoiled. 4.6, provide mandatory trauma-informed training for key personnel. 80 people agree, 2 disagree, 2 don't know and 1 spoiled vote. 4.7 was in the area of family supports. 75 people were in favour, 6 disagree, 3 don't know and 1 invalid. And finally, 4.8, which was around the issue of continuity of care. 76 people agree, 2 disagree, 4 don't know, and 3 spoiled. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, clear results on ballot 3 and ballot 4. Okay, I'm going to move us swiftly in now to ballot paper number 6, which you have had time to deliberate, and we'll pull up on the screen in just a moment, and we'll walk through the 4 recommendations that are here. Sorry, can I just, we formally closed ballot paper number 5. I can ask Jesse and Marcus with Kieran to take those away for counting, please. Okay, so we have the first one up, which is 6.1. Referral of submissions to inform the development of next national drug strategy, and it sets out in the explanatory narrative what we're saying in terms of the related submissions. Can I have a show of hands if we're okay? Sorry, Bill, did you want to make a comment? Sorry, Bill.
Thank you. Yeah, we just suggesting just around the wording.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the first one, 6.1, says referral of submissions to inform the development of the next national drug strategy. So a person who is not attending the Assembly might wonder what submissions. So we would suggest submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drugs should be referred to the Department of Health to inform the development of the next national drug strategy.
Okay.
And following...
and we'll leave next out, just be consistent with everything else.
Although it does have to be the next, you know. Well,
yeah, okay, just consistent.
And 6.2.
Oh, sorry, we'll take 6.2 in a second, Bill, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. No, thank you, Bill. Jack, I'm sorry. Table 2. Yeah.
Why was medical cannabis deemed to be outside the Assembly's terms of reference, given that 47 people within the state are being treated with this medicine at the moment? And it's absolutely imperative that people should be given the choice to use it if it helps them with their illness. Surely it's time that, you know, we looked at, or, you know, could see about expanding the programme to include all illness. I wonder if you could answer that question.
No, thank you. John.
Yeah, well, look, in short terms, and I know not everybody agrees with this, but the Medicinal Cannabis Access Programme is already a regulated programme, legislated for, so it doesn't fall under the terms of illicit drugs use. And that's, I know, a contentious issue among some people who are, you know, passionately interested in looking at the expansion of the Medicinal Cannabis Access Programme, but it's not something that the terms of reference for this Citizens' Assembly mandated this group to look at.
Okay, well, thank you. Jack?
Just in regards to 6.1, I also had some ideas about the wording. In particular, I believe that it should state referral of general public and stakeholder submissions, and it should inform the development and deployment of the next national drug strategy.
Can we go for implementation instead of deployment? Just the usual terminology. Implementation of the next as opposed to deployment.
Oh yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay,
that's fine.
It's fine. Tab 10 is in.
Sorry, based on the question, the previous question from table 2, I have a concern about our vote result yesterday on voting for the cannabis as a changing from the status quo to house-led approach, and I have a concern about how much it's gonna be to how much effect it's gonna have to recommendation 6.2, and would that change the current legalization?
We're not on 6.2. Sorry, yeah. We're not on 6.2 yet.
Yeah, I just like to echo what
I
she
know,
said.
I know
earlier
you're coming
on.
in behind points. Yeah, okay, I understand. Okay, can I have a show of hands? We're okay with 6.1 to go as is. Sorry, my apologies. Sorry, just one comment from Rebecca. Okay, show of hands. Sorry, one last time for me, please. Okay, we'll go with 6.1. 6.2. So it's okay. I'm going to call Rebecca and then Noel.
So I would just like to make a comment based on something that was said at table 2 a second ago on behalf of some of my fellow members. The Citizens' Assembly notes the close result on the cannabis decriminalisation status yesterday and calls on the government to recognise and recognise the fact that cannabis should probably be treated differently to all other drugs.
And can you just clarify, Rebecca, can you just clarify your proposal as that wording goes in here on the recommendation?
No,
6.2?
it's nothing to do with this. It's a separate comment
Okay.
that I wanted to make, that because
Sorry.
the vote was so close yesterday, and there's a sense that there may have been some confusion around the process, that I just think it's important to have it noted publicly on camera that there is a difference. There was such a fine line.
I fully understand your point.
So I just think it's important to acknowledge that.
I think it's very well made. Your point in terms of reference to the tightness of it, etc., to be reflected in the report, I think is your wording. And it is show of hands if the room is agreed that we should reflect the tightness of the report. Okay. Thank you. We'll work something on that. Any other suggestions on 6.2? Table 5 and then table 6 again. Bill, come back to table 1. 5.
Hi, yeah, just in addition to that, while cannabis and other drugs like psilocybin, ayahuasca and mushrooms were deemed outside the terms of reference for discussion, we at the same time had to
please, sorry, Adele, is it? I can't.
Jean.
Sorry, Jean, I can't say, sorry, I have you there now.
Do you mind if I sit down?
Yeah, no, sorry, apologies, I couldn't see where the mic was.
Yeah, I just want to say that while it's deemed outside of the terms of reference to discuss drugs like cannabis and psilocybin, ayahuasca, etc., we were at the same time asked to vote on these substances. And I feel like there's a bit of bias as we weren't educated on these substances. And human nature is such that if something is unfamiliar or we're not educated on it, then we're more likely to be afraid of that substance. And I'm afraid that there would have been then a sort of unconscious bias against these drugs, and it may not have reflected. I just feel like we should have had education and information about the benefits of these drugs at the beginning or throughout the assembly meetings, and therefore there was a bit of bias.
No, I understand, Jean. Yeah.
I think the answer is similar enough to the question about whether or not medicinal cannabis was inside the terms of reference. The therapeutic benefits of drugs or the potential therapeutic benefits of drugs is obviously an issue of interest to certain members in the room here. But again, it's clearly different from the terms of reference, which called on looking at the harmful impacts of illicit drugs. So you're talking about a possible therapeutic benefit of illicit drugs, which is a different question entirely from looking at how the state can reduce the harmful impacts of illicit drugs.
But if I could just add, at the same time, we were asked to vote on these, which is really important and has dramatic impacts on society. And I feel like we should have been educated more, considering we did have to vote on it. We did have to vote on whether we need to legalise these or not. We weren't informed fully around the benefits and the harms.
Okay, I suppose that the benefits of these drugs is not within the terms of reference, therefore there wasn't either a remit or a mandate or time, in fact, to look at those issues. Okay.
Sorry, can we just have hands, please? Okay, sorry. Any further suggestions on to Noel? Table 11?
I have a specific comment that I want to add, but just to...
On 6.2, is it?
Yeah, on 6.2,
okay,
yeah. But just in reference to what Jean was saying, I think if you're actively excluding the therapeutic benefits, then indirectly you are causing harm, and we've contributed to that.
Okay.
So,
do you want to go? Sorry. Floor is yours now. You're okay.
So, like, just following on then, specifically on this recommendation 6.2, I would like to propose an additional sentence at the end of the narrative. I'd like to take away for further consideration, because it's quite vague, nondescript. And I'd like to add, in addition, the action is to establish an evidence base on the therapeutic effects of psilocybin, ayahuasca, ibogaine, to inform policy and practice.
Do you have that written out there? No, just to help us.
Yeah.
We'll come back to tables now in 1 second. We'll come back to Bill and then Evelyn. Just give us a chance. get to you, Evelyn, don't worry.
Excuse my typos, I'll fix them up afterwards. That's it.
That's as you have it worded now, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, Bill on table 6, and then Evelyn on table 1.
Yeah, again, just going back to the wording, 6.2, we suggest that submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drug use should be referred to appropriate authorities.
Yeah. In the main recommendation, isn't it? In the main recommendation, Bill, yeah. Evelyn?
Yeah, I would just like to note in the room, in reply to those comments, that I respect them, but we voted on cocaine yesterday, and we didn't look at the pros and cons of cocaine. We didn't look at the modality, the scientific background as to how it works. We didn't go into a nitty gritty on any drug, so that's just a reply to that.
No, fair point. Okay, thank you. Dolores, sorry, I'll go back to table 6 in a moment. Can we have table 4, please? Dolores, thank you.
Yeah, I just think the last recommendation there, I think is contradictory to what we're saying. It was outside the terms of reference to be looking at the therapeutic aspects, and yet we're making a recommendation on them, so I think that's contradictory. Yeah. And just as well to go back to the other points in general about the voting and so on yesterday, I think it was very clear what we were doing. And I feel that maybe the voices around, if the vote had gone a different way, there mightn't have been the same objections to the way things were done yesterday.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to stick with 6.2, and Lord's point is made, well made, in relation to this could be outside of our terms of reference, so we'll have to let the room judge on this one. Any other further suggestions? Okay, actually I'm going to, okay, Kerry, since you're there. No, Kerry, quickly, I'll take it quickly if you can. Okay.
I just think that if 15 or 18 people put up their hands, as I said yesterday, that's 20% of the room didn't understand what they were voting on. So that's not clarity.
Okay, I'm on 6.2.
Even if individual people thought it was clear.
We can keep going, but I'm going to stick with 6.2. Sorry, I wanted someone at table 6, I think wants to come back in, did it?
Thank you. I'm just raising a point on behalf of the table, which is a concern that referral of certain issues outside of the terms of reference to appropriate authorities wouldn't lead to action, and therefore would like to suggest strengthening of the language in the recommendation, that there be a review of certain issues, and the first one being the use of cannabis for medicinal use, the second one being the process of prescribing legal drugs and risks of addiction.
Sorry, the proposal is that goes in, is it? As
a recommendation, in that there be
we can't have a recommendation outside our terms of reference. Like we can't. I mean, I'm here in the room, but I can't. We can't facilitate it. Can we? Any other comments? Alana, table.
Thanks. Hi guys, I know this is very topical from yesterday, but just we did deliberate on this yesterday, and it says in the explanatory notes that we haven't deliberated or taken a position. I feel like that's contradictory to the vote we took yesterday. I realise this is in relation to submissions from the public, but I don't think that wording is correct. I'm not sure how you can fix that.
Yeah, well, just to clarify, so the vote yesterday that was taken in relation to psilocybin, etc., was in relation to, you know, which legal approach would be taken for them, right?
Yeah.
The question of the therapeutic benefits is a different question in a sense, right? So they are two distinct things. So we haven't deliberated on the therapeutic benefits of certain drugs, be it cannabis, be it ecstasy, MDMA, or be it psilocybin, etc. So there's been a lack of a detailed discussion on those issues, and that's because they're not within the terms of reference, that question of possible therapeutic benefits.
Yeah, I understand that. I just feel like that particular wording,
as it is
misleading, because we did actually have a vote on those specific drugs yesterday.
Okay. when we will test this.
So,
Okay.
sorry, could I quickly fix that, Alana, by just saying the issue of the therapeutic benefits of these drugs was not taking a position on the therapeutic benefits of these, potential therapeutic benefits of.
Okay, well, Carl is just trying to do that. Jack, I'm going to move to this one fairly quickly because we're really spending a lot of time on 6.2.
I guess I just wanted to ask for clarification on what is meant by, I guess, the terms and conditions of this assembly. It seems to me as if this whole issue is one in which the assembly holds a particular interest in, and does these sort of the intransigent do the intransigent, in my opinion, terms and conditions, do they come before maybe the desires and wishes of the assembly itself?
The frank answer, and this not to be too blunt, is yes. We have to stay in our terms of reference, which are set by the Oireachtas, elected members. They set it for us. We deliberate on the issues set for us, and we report recommendations based on that. So yes, it's set for us. We have reflected a lot of issues in the report on our recommendations related to our terms of reference. We haven't strayed outside. There's lots of other areas people will have a view on, but it has to be within our terms of reference. It's not intransigence, it's just that's the way terms of reference work.
Yeah, and if I could just give some context about the reason for this recommendation 6.2, it's because we felt, first of all, recognise that there is a lot of interest in these topics among certain members of the Assembly itself, and also from certain submissions received. And rather than simply saying these are not within terms of reference, we're not going to discuss or do anything with them, and off you go on your merry way, this is an effort to do as much as possible while remaining within our terms of reference, which is to simply pass these issues over to the appropriate authorities so that they can consider them and take them on board as, you know, the viewpoints of some of the members of the Assembly and some members of the public and stakeholders who made submissions. So it's doing as much as we can while staying within the terms of reference.
Okay. Go to floor. Have you finalised your wording yet? Is it, show of hands if you're happy with the wording as it is to go to a ballot. A show of hands, only one hand per person, please. A show of hands if you're not happy with it, not happy with this wording. Okay, we'll go with this wording as it is. Thank you. 6.3. Next, National Drug Strategy should include a focus on service and technological innovation. Table 3.
Yeah, just innovation means not reinventing the wheel and basically taking what's already working out there. So I think there should be a statement saying that we should look at what's already working and models working, like prevention and whatever in Iceland, Portugal, or many other countries, and adapting them to the Irish society.
Okay, looking at best practice internationally, yeah. Okay, let's think of something on that. Are you okay with that, just as it is? Maybe it's not so. Okay, thank you. Elaine's waving for table 12, is it?
We were talking about changing the recommendation heading to the line which is in the narrative, which is the next national drug strategy should incentivize and promote evidence-based innovations. Just that entire line is in the narrative.
In the text, was it, Lauren?
Yeah, we should change that line to the heading.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I hear.
Because it makes more sense to the narrative.
I think the only bit's missing is evidence-based, isn't it?
So Lauren, delete the existing heading and replace it with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we lost international best practice.
We can stick that in as well.
In the line. Yeah.
We're just going to get.
And change the word good practice to best practice.
we've two best practices, but formed by best practice nationally and internationally, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Formed by best practice nationally and internationally, we'll go for. Can I have a show of hands if we're happy to go with this as it is? As amended, I should say. Thank you. We'll go with that. 6.3. Fine.
Oh, doesn't Zin has another?
Sin.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And we suggest to add in the title to 2.3 that the next national drug strategy should work with the Department of Health and universities and the Departments of Technology and Innovation to deliver the service. And add to the explanatory narrative that to integrate the healthcare unit identifier.
Unique health identifier, was it?
Yes.
Utilised or develop one, was it? It doesn't exist.
That's the existing problem that you need to link the system together.
Okay.
That's we've been talked in the last few weeks and the previous votes. And also, when after...
Sorry, Suzanne, go ahead.
Sorry. And when designing the software system, and they should have fully regard to the patient's confidential and with following GDPR. Thanks.
The unique health identifier doesn't exist though at the moment, overall.
And to roll out.
Sorry. Okay, you're saying roll out a unique health identifier. Okay, sorry, table 14, had you? We did have a show of hands now, but I'll take
No, I think there's still 2 references to next.
Oh, apologies, yeah. We'll do a full review of next, where it's appropriate and where it isn't, in explanatory texts. Okay, a show of hands was approved on that one, just based on that. If we're still okay, it's only an explanatory change. We'll go with 6.3. Finally, 6.4, sorry, Carl. The next national drug strategy should include a plan to strengthen national research and data system for drugs. Show of hands. Oh, sorry, one table was Adele. Do you have something? Table 5, 12.
Sorry, just to include, so the national drug strategy should strengthen the national research, data collection and data system for drugs, just to specify data collection in there too, please.
Data collection and system for drugs, yeah. Okay, table 1.
So from our table deliberations on this point, we would like to expand the recommendation to suggest the purpose of this research by adding to inform evidence-based decision-making. And I have a second suggestion, if I may, please. Within the narrative text, on the third line, where it says, on the presentation of data from authorities, so we're on the third line there, we would like to replace authorities with agencies, including community-based organisations. To reference the wording of the last point, 6.3, it's worded as community and voluntary sectors. So basically what we want is just to include the community and voluntary sectors in that paragraph. Thank you.
No, thank you. Can I have a show of hands if we're happy with 6.4 to go to vote? Thanking you. Or 6? 6. It was 6.4, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, but we didn't have much chance to collect as many questions as the previous questions before we show hands on if we could go through.
Sorry, Zane, once I see a hand up, I'm going to the floor at all stages. I mustn't have seen your hand, but I'm going to the floor whenever I see a hand. So if you have
But we did not, I was still preparing my questions and it was too fast. And then we did not spend as much time as the previous questions.
Zane,
I'm sorry,
you now
I
have the
didn't
floor.
want to
You now have
create
the floor.
the conflicts.
You now have the floor, it's fine.
I'm sorry about this.
No,
and then,
you
so it's just my a little bit suggestion if we should include the healthcare indicator unit identifier to this as well, and to link all the existing systems and within the regard of the users confidentially and GDPR. And also, maybe we can add to the explanatory narrative to add as a part of the data research to build the data model and utilizing machine learning and artificial intelligence and other technological innovation to validate the effectiveness of evidence models that we are voted before, and including the funding, the healthcare, etc. Thanks.
So, Zin, just on the question of GDPR and patient confidentiality, we've included this now in section 6.3, the previous question. So, would it work to just leave it there and it automatically applies as a principle across any use of technology?
Sorry, it's just in my opinion, and because GDPR is quite crucial for the for software system and the data. So I think it's. I think we do need to mention in both of the recommendations.
There would be. I think we do have it in 6.3, as Carl said, but there would be a natural assumption for any government process and any government system, it has to comply with GDPR. That's just a given. That's a basic qualifier. So,
and Zin, just as a quick answer to a very detailed suggestion around inclusion of our use of artificial intelligence and machine learning, I can just insert a sort of a summary phrase here, which is use of innovative technologies in supporting this. And if that, I think, will encompass all the points that you're suggesting.
Zin, I have to ask you to summarise it, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, just one last comment. As long as we put a part of validate, use the innovation of technology to validate the effectiveness of the rest part that we talked about, the funding and the evidence-based programs and education.
Okay,
thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Kerry, was this on 6.4, Kerry? Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Just as a couple of things, there's down near the end in the last paragraph, there's the next drugs, the next
drug strategy
again. So
no, I said we'll do an edit and find and all those next. There's a lot of next.
And then there's a sentence just while Ireland has a robust and well-regarded research and data system on drugs, for someone who's been a worker and a researcher and has had a couple of publications in the HRB data system, I think it's actually quite underfunded and under-resourced.
Brian agrees with you down the back there. His hand is up already.
And I don't know if other people would agree.
Oh, he agrees, all right, yeah.
I think it needs an awful lot more funding infrastructure, and that's not to take away from the very good work that's done there. But I was surprised to see that sentence there.
So, Kerry,
so I think there's a huge amount of funding and infrastructure that needs to go in there. Okay. And I think we saw throughout the presentations here a lot of data that was missing because of those gaps within the system. Like even as simple a thing as when we looked at what looked like a sudden increase in women's uptake of drug use, when it's actually the changing patterns of women's drug use that's changed. So I don't know, maybe you can look at rewording that.
Well, I've just suggested here, Kerry, to include, there's a need to further strengthen and resource the system.
I don't know if Brian has a suggestion.
No, he's not allowed. He's not allowed.
Overhaul, revamp. There's much stronger words that I would suggest, but there's other people with much greater expertise in the room. The second point that I had was, we're talking about partnerships between statutory authorities and academic research community. Does the partnership not have to be much, much wider than that? Does it not have to include all stakeholders, the community and voluntary service, the service users, the service providers?
Okay, we can say, with all key stakeholders.
But also, can we include service users? Because other government departments are talking about PPI, so I'm
There you
not
go.
sure why PPI is excluded here.
Okay.
And again, the PPI involvement has to be funded, and that funding has to be named here, not just in the funding recommendations, because otherwise it is forgotten.
Thank you, Kerry. We've had the show of hands table for 6.4, so we'll go with 6.4 as currently being finalised. Agreed? Okay, so can I just, it's going to take us a few minutes to finalise this, get them printed off and bring them back to you. Can I just ask you to bear with us for a quick 10 minutes? We'll get this organised, we'll get the vote back to you, and we'll draw to some conclusions and the results of 5. Have we got results of 5? We'll have the results of 5 in a couple of minutes. So just bear with us for a few minutes and we'll get these printed and out to you. Thank you very much. Please don't head off too far. We're just going to play. Sorry? No, okay. We're just going to play a very brief video, just a reflection over the last few weeks and months. It is a great privilege to join you all here today in this Citizens' Assembly process and what's going to be, I believe, a momentous discussion. But you are the only people who will make the decisions in this room, on this assembly.
We would encourage everyone to be bold in their questioning and recommendations as we go through the process.
But what I would like to see is something active and dynamic grow, because you can bang about the criminal law book forever and ever and ever, and it doesn't stop murder. It doesn't stop any of the other of these horrible crimes. So criminalising and making it a criminal justice issue solely is not what it's going to work.
People like ourselves working in this sector want to help people out of this. People who are in addiction want to get out of addiction. They do not want, this is not a lifelong dream to be in addiction. They want to be out of it.
So the question I suppose we have is, when people reach out for help, why are we putting hurdles in the way?
I don't think there is one solution. There has to be several solutions, because I think there are several things happening.
I think early intervention and clear pathways into recovery has to take place. I think it's extremely difficult at times in terms of accessing recovery.
And I visited Coolmine this morning, the ladies, and again, emotional, because it works out there. It actually works. And it doesn't need to be reinvented.
So my point really is, once you have a good, solid, robust structure, integrated, good partner in the community like Coolmine, ourselves in the HSC advocating for more, you can get results. And I mean that integrated care, that is the way to go.
Not everybody can go through the health-led approach, which is wonderful, but there needs to be something when that doesn't work.
How do we support young people from an early age? How do we improve our education system and their experience of the education system so that there is other options for them? Because at the moment their options are to move into the drugs trade are often their best options.
And the sooner we get stuck into accommodating and minding young people, and the better in terms of prevention.
But at what point do we see them as victims? Because a 30 and 40 and 15-year-old, how do we see them as a criminal? They have been failed by successive government policies, they've been failed by statutory agencies, they've been failed by education systems, housing policy, social welfare policy.
The consequence of all this is that punishing these children on the assumption that they have a free rein to act pro-socially or anti-socially is unfair. Punishing them is also ineffective.
I have 2 teenagers, and you have changed my thought process completely about drugs and about the future of this country. One issue that we felt really strongly about is trauma. Trauma is the root of addiction, and this has to be recognised and the stigma removed.
We need to harness this recovery capital at a systemic level. We need our key partners across housing, health, education, employment, social services and justice. Where we live, where we play and where we work will determine our health. When we have health in all policy, health improvements are clear.
What we need are treatments that recognise a biopsychosocial model. We need treatments that can overlap that. But more important than that, it has to be rooted in compassion and empathy. It's not conveyor belt approach.
I don't believe that 9 individuals for 26 counties is enough. If even we were to say it was 10% or under, it's not enough. It's not adequate. Can we please take our heads out of the sand for once and for all?
If someone was, say, being referred to the service and the person is based in Galway and I'm having somebody who's in possession in Donegal, which is a 4-hour trip, how do I refer them on?
And I think there's moments like this when we get to talk about it, especially in the traveller community, and bring awareness around about it. Everything helps.
What do people tell us? They tell us they want to live. They tell us they want to realise their full potential. They tell us they want to have a stake in society. They tell us they want to be involved.
So there's kind of pockets of really good things happening all around the place, but there's some momentum now by the existence of the Assembly to say, let's get clear on this and have one clear strategy that everyone is rowing in behind.
If you do good things for other people, your own self-esteem improves, they benefit. And if you think about that as a community entity, across services, across interventions in families, across people who are struggling because they don't have a sense of belonging, it is really powerful. And the untapped bit is to get it into our consciousness and into our education system.
When they're not looked at as just a number and a statistic, you
see them as people. They're literally like somebody sitting in the bus next to you could be exactly like them in Cool Minds, and you wouldn't know it. They're not criminals. They shouldn't be treated like criminals. They're not serial killers or terrorists. You know, they're suffering an addiction, and they should be helped.
Well done to Ryan, who's just walking in the door from the office. The Secretary Ryan put that video together, so well done to you, Ryan. We must arrange one for everybody in the audience, just to get a USB key for you. I think we have ballot paper 6 ready for distribution, so if we can distribute straight away, and we'll give the results for ballot paper number 5 now in just a moment, as well as we're distributing those. So then we just have to count 6. Just give them a minute. Okay, just as you're looking at your ballot paper, just going to briefly present the results of ballot paper number 5 through Kieran. Thank you.
Okay, this is the results of papers 5, which had 9 questions, 1 to 9. Question 5.1 is to prioritise the reduction of supply, sale and distribution of illicit drugs. We had 85 votes cast on this particular ballot, 2 invalid, 81 agree, 2 disagree. On 5.2, to develop alternative pathways for young people engaged in low-level supply, 82 agree, 1 disagree and 2 spoiled votes. On 5.3, which is about resilient and sustainable communities, 2 spoiled votes, 76 agree and 7 disagree. On 5.4, tackle drug-related intimidation and violence, there were 4 spoiled votes, 79 agree and 2 disagree. 5.5, prioritise harm reduction, there were 3 spoiled votes, 79 agree, 3 disagree. On 5.6, which was about a strategic approach to prevention, apologies, the questions there, or the headings on the left-hand side are not updated to show that they should be 5 point, they're showing us 3 point. But we're actually on 5.6, and we'll correct that shortly. Strategic approach to prevention, there were 4 spoiled votes, 78 agree, 2 disagree, and 1 don't know. On 5.7, to build resilience and prevention capital, we have 3 spoiled votes, 80 agree, 2 disagree, and that was it, no don't knows. 5.8, to design and implement a comprehensive school-based drug prevention strategy. We had 3 spoiled votes, 81 agree, 1 disagree. And finally, on 5.9, which was about the National Public Health Communications Strategy, we had 2 spoils, 81 agree, and 2 disagree. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. So, could I ask Jesse and Marcus maybe just to validate the boxes or seal the boxes with Kieran before we take the vote for ballot paper number 6, please. So, work away to the table, just prepare your ballots if you can, please.
Sorry, could I just make a clarification? On the printed ballot paper that you have, there's still the appearance of several references to the next National Drug Strategy. Apologies once again, they will be removed in the final recommendations. It's just a type.
So, whenever you are ready, it's I think we are ready. Okay, are we okay? We are ready to take the ballots on number 6, please. Sorry? Hold on. Hold on. You have your bodyguard, Marcus.
Sorry, just while we're waiting for the ballot boxes to be open, could I also clarify, I didn't quite complete the editing of the explanatory narrative in 6.4, so it says PPI at the bottom. That's a reference to me to take on board the suggestion Kerry made earlier, so that'll be incorporated as well. Thanks.
Sorry about this. We have our two tellers on bodyguard here. They won't let you near anything.
Are we waiting for that?
I doubt seal a lock, is it? Box is open. And the other box is open. You're in early. Sorry, Kerry, I need to talk to the floor. Sorry, can I ask everybody, please, have you all put your ballot papers in the box at this stage? We're just going to close it. One last call. I know the last time it took one or two. Are any of the facilitators aware that somebody not back at their table to vote? Any of the facilitators? There is one? No? We're okay? Okay, we're going to formally close ballot process for ballot paper number 6, and we'll try turn this around. Nobody else? Okay. We close, and I'll ask Kieran and Jesse and Marcus to please. I'll do that before we finish. Yeah. I'll do that first. I'll do it when I finish. Okay, so we're just going to try turn this one around as quickly as we can. No pressure, Kieran. Shouldn't take long, folks. It's just 4 ballot papers.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Colin.
Sorry, folks. Just while we're waiting, we're going to hand out the post-meeting evaluation forms, the favourite part of your day. And as you know, we've really relied on these to give us credible feedback from the room at each and every meeting. Obviously, everybody will want to have their say on this meeting and how it went. And, you know, good, bad or indifferent, we do value your feedback. So please fill out your details on the form, and that'll get us through the next few minutes while we're waiting for the counting of ballot paper 6. Thanks.
results of ballot 6, and then we'll separately put them up on screen shortly. So, Kieran.
Okay, the following are the results of ballot paper number 6, which consisted of 4 questions. The first question is referral of submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drug use to inform the development of the next National Drug Strategy. Yeah, sorry. On that one, we had, on all of these, we have 85 votes cast. On that question 6.1, we had 79 agree, 4 disagree, 1 don't know, and 1 invalid vote. On question 6.2, which is the referral of certain submissions received by the Citizens' Assembly on drugs use to appropriate authorities, 68 agree, 15 disagree, 1 don't know, and 1 invalid. 6.3 is the next National Drug Strategy should include a focus on service, technological innovation and international best practice. And of that one, 78 agree, 4 disagree, 2 don't know, and 1 invalid. And the last question, 6.4, is to strengthen the national research and data collection systems. 77 agree, 4 disagree, 3 don't know, and 1 invalid. Thank you.
Thank you, and that concludes the balloting and the balloting process on the count. What we do want to play, is Ryan got the video?
Yeah. So we have a short video to play just in a moment, if you bear with us as we load it up. Just looking for Ryan. But meanwhile, while we're waiting for that to play, I might just take a few moments just to kind of conclude things from my perspective as Secretary. Paul will have the last word as Chairperson, but what I wanted to say was, look, we're at the finishing line now with all of the votes casted, counted and reported on. It's been an extraordinary process, I think, from my perspective. It's been a privilege to have been involved in this. We have done a Trojan amount of work, I think, over the last 7 months. My admiration about the level of work that you guys have done over the last 7 months is profound. I've really respected the amount of time you've put in, both at the weekend meetings and also, you know, in between meetings, the amount of interaction that we've had through email, through phone calls, through Zoom meetings, particularly with the steering group. I want to thank each and every one of the steering group for the massive effort they've put in. I also want to acknowledge the invaluable help we've had from the Lived Experience group and our advisory support group, and also the various other panels we had during the process, like the legal advisory panel that we had leading up to meeting 4. So many people involved behind the scenes and in front of the scenes as well, helping us with this process. It's been an amazing experience. A difficult topic. There is clearly lots of different viewpoints in the room, huge range of diversity in the room, and I think that's been really important. It's so hard for a Citizens' Assembly that doesn't have that diversity to be able to go back with credible recommendations to the Oireachtas and to the government. So I'm confident, now that we've crossed the finishing line with all those results, that we do have a very credible set of recommendations. They're not all unanimous, and there's obviously room, you know, there's people in this room who are disappointed by some of the results, and that will be reflected in the final report. There will be room in the final report to reflect, as Paul said, the closeness of some of the votes, and that will be an issue then for the Oireachtas to take cognizance of. I just want to finish up by saying thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to Paul, who's been an absolutely amazing chairperson to work with, and thank you to everybody in front of and behind the scenes who's made this possible. Paul will go through it in detail, but just want to say thank you, each and every one of you, and well done.
So we have a brief video from An Taoiseach Léor Bhradgar just to present to you here this morning.
A gcuidiúsla, bhuatlam an deis seo hapu chun buíochas a gabhfuil le gach duine agaibh as fuór demontas agus fuór nuachracht iontach maidir le hobar hábhachtach an tionól Saránach úsáid drugaí. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for your extraordinary dedication and commitment to the important work of the Citizens' Assembly on drugs use. This Assembly was asked to consider the legislative, policy and operational changes we could make to significantly reduce the harmful effects of illicit drug use on individuals, their families, communities and wider society. This was a significant task, given the multifaceted nature of the problems associated with drugs misuse. But I'm sure that at this stage, you know that better than most. Over the course of 6 or 7 short months, you were asked to listen, learn, engage, discuss, and most importantly, deliberate on these issues. You had the benefits of experts and academics from Ireland and internationally, and you've also had the benefit of hearing people's lived experience. I know that your Assembly has operated to the highest standards in terms of deliberative democracy, and I expect that your recommendations, whatever they may be, will reflect the collective wisdom of a dedicated and varied group of people from right across the country. As you know, once your work concludes this weekend, your report will be finalised and submitted to the Oireachtas and Government by the end of this year. I can assure you that the Government and the Oireachtas will carefully consider and respond comprehensively to your recommendations. As members of the Assembly, you've made a valuable civic contribution, and I'm immensely grateful to each of you. Thank you for your time and that of your families who've assisted your participation over the past 6 months. My thanks also to the Chairman of the Assembly, Mr. Paul Reid, for dedicating himself to the work of the Assembly, and for what I've heard has ensured that not a minute was wasted throughout each meeting. I know your work was aided by the Advisory Support Group, the Lived Experience Group, and all the contributions over the course of the Assembly. Thank you for all that you've contributed. So congratulations on reaching the finish line on schedule, and best wishes for the future. Gur míle maith go léir.
Taoiseach should have actually said we finished an hour ahead of schedule. But anyway. So look, again, just a few closing procedural messages from myself. And firstly, and I'll take a few collective, but before I do that, just thank Jesse and Marcus, exceptional role on the owl tellers. Gave up their lunchtime yesterday, gave a lot of time throughout the whole process, and really do appreciate it. And thanks for putting your name forward to everybody else as well. I will say a few collective pieces, and we can give them a collective round of applause. But again, as always, the professionalism of Pi, Conor and his team, on sound, Jerry and his team. I do also want to thank Q4. I know we've referenced them before, but a communications organisation who've worked with us throughout the whole process and throughout the whole getting messages out and supporting the parallel discussion that's happened around the whole issue of drugs as well. So thanks to those as well. Special thanks as always to Matt and his team. Matt's at the very background in the corner. I have 2 minutes. Good stuff, Luminita. Thank you. That is brilliant. Look, thanks to Matt and his team. I know Matt and his team have been facilitating all of the citizens' assemblies that's been held here, and it just shows, it runs like a machine. But staff who just apparently have a smile around as they're serving and working with us and changing timetables and adapting timetables. Thanks, Matt, and really appreciate everything. The quality and the service has been fantastic. If I can, again, just a few people together. Certainly the HSE team who have been working behind the scenes and supporting. It's during very difficult presentations, people might have felt need support, need help, need someone to chat to. And they've done that very professionally behind the scenes in a very diligent way. And I want to thank Anthony and his team as well for that. Our sign language speakers throughout the whole process, but today and yesterday we have Susan and Darren. I know we all see it and understand it, but it's a relentlessly tiring job to be standing on your feet, keeping up with ourselves. So we really appreciate everything you've been doing. Kieran Manning, who's been working with us for the last week or so, but Kieran's brought international and national expertise in terms of process and balloting, and I really want to thank Kieran for his time throughout and working on stuff last night with us as well. So thank you, Kieran. Well done. And just as we are wider public, I do want to thank all of the presenters that we've had in here to date, all of the people who've shared in a very real way their lived experiences, all of the public who've had submissions, and indeed in parallel the debates that have happened and informed us in some way, but a parallel set of debates that happened around the Citizens' Assembly on drugs. I want to thank everybody for that. Carl has thanked the Advisory Steering Group and the Lived Experience Group, but I do want to thank them as well, behind the scenes, having given a lot of time, personal time, commitments in very busy roles that they have, all of them in very busy lives. I want to thank them all for how they helped us steer through a very complex area. Our facilitators, Caroline and all the team, again, they've been brilliant working with us throughout. Just do it in a very calm way, give us feedback after, tell us what you said, what you thought worked, and we try to adapt based on it. But behind us, capturing all that data that they've captured for us is really rich. So thanks, Caroline, to all your team. And finally, I know I've left somebody up, but again, I want to thank the Secretariat team. You know, I've worked in the public service just for about 13 years, but to work with a bunch of people who just permanently go around with a smile, and that's really what it is in the office and throughout here when, you know, there's a lot of cogs running around. These guys just permanently going around with a smile, including Jerome as well. Sorry. There he is. But no, it's tremendous professionals, and behind the scenes, as Cathal said, the work that goes on in preparation for these meetings, logistical work, presenters' work, trying to align the agenda around our terms of reference. Fantastic team that I've worked with. And I also want to particularly and specifically thank Cathal. He said kind words about me, but I have to tell you, he is the backbone and the anchor of all of this process. And my role comes into play when we're here together. His role has come into play every day of every week and before we've even been into this process. And, you know, again, a thorough, absolute, committed public servant. It's what it says on the tin. When you see Cathal, he is a public servant. And I think we've been a bit of a yin and yang together, but we've worked really well behind the scenes. So thank you, Cathal, for everything you've done. So I have one more minute, Luminita. Look, just final things for me, as Cathal said. Look, we're here together nearly 7 months, which is an amazing process. A fantastic process to be involved in, fantastic privilege for me to be involved in. I know from chatting to all of you in our social gatherings, you have felt it as a privilege too. And it has been, as the Taoiseach said, it has been a big responsibility. And that's what you have all brought. You've brought that big responsibility. Some of the tensions that we've had throughout the whole process are because you've all come with different views, different aspirations, and where we might get to and what you've heard. But you know, you've had brought. I know in the process of the 7 months as well, many of you have sacrificed things in your own personal lives or things in your work life as well, whether it's birthdays or special occasions, to be here and give up a full weekend every month. That is really special, and I do really appreciate it, and I know it. So thank you for doing all that. As Cathal said, look, it has been a challenging process at different times. It's been a challenging process yesterday. But that literally, I think, yesterday reflects the Irish population. And that's what this process is about. A really difficult issue, really challenging issue throughout the whole process. And that's what you've come forward and done, represented the Irish population in a very good way. And to find a couple of things for me, I think there's few occasions in our lives, or our roles, or you know, our social lives or whatever, that we get a chance to make a really big mark in society. And this for me has been one chance. Time will tell, but we've had the opportunity to set out a stall, to set out a shift and change in attitudes related to drugs and drug addiction. And you've embraced that opportunity. So once in a lifetime, we all get this opportunity to make a difference in society. I do believe this is one we've all got and one that you have grasped really well, and thank you for that. Yeah, and look, that is a special thanks to all of you. I've experienced nothing but kindness and humanity dealing with all of you, individually, collectively, supporting me, supporting the team through this process. You're a tremendous bunch of people. You really are. A great-looking bunch and a tremendous bunch of people as well, overall. So, no, I really want to thank you. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. And I know many of you have made friends. Many of you have made groups that you'll keep in touch with, and that's just really nice value add, an extra piece to the process. So, and I know I've made great friends. I've made 99 great friends. You mightn't be my friend, you might feel I'm your friend, but I've made 99 good friends, and I really want to thank you for that. My final message actually is to the Taoiseach and government to really do embrace these recommendations. I mean, we've expressed frustration before that, you know, and I'll say one more time, if a legislation was agreed in 2017 and agreed by government in 2019 and it's nowhere to be seen as we head into 2024, this can't happen with this report. This can't happen with these recommendations. We've set out we want the most senior accountability level at government level, a dedicated cabinet committee. We don't want this hanging on a shelf. We want it going to the Oireachtas. We want it going to government straight away. People's lives are at stake. This is not just about a policy. This is about saving people's lives, about saving families, saving communities, destigmatising people who have been marginalised through many of the harms caused by drugs. So my special plea to Taoiseach, thanks for your kind comments. What really will make a difference to us is you embrace this report and implement it. So thank you very much, everybody, and safe home. Thank you.